This case is straight out of a TV show or movie plot. Hello, true crimerers. This is the case of Nicholas Barclay. Viewer discretion is advised. At the time of this case, Nicholas Barclay was 13 years old, and he and his family lived in San Antonio, Texas. Up to the point of this case, Nicholas did have some troubles. He had broken into a convenience store, he had stolen some things, he had threatened a teacher, and he was actually scheduled for a court hearing, I think because of the convenience store break-in. But he would never make it to that. On June 13th, 1993, Nicholas went to go play basketball with a friend of his. When he was done, he would call his house to see if his mom could come pick him up. His brother answered, and the brother said that, well, mom is sleeping, she works an overnight shift, so why don't you just go ahead and walk home? And that is apparently what Nicholas did. Nicholas never made it to his home. Nicholas has never been seen alive again. Or was he? But police did become involved pretty quickly. They searched all over for him, they questioned people, but they weren't getting anywhere. 3 months after his disappearance, his brother said that one day he thought he saw Nicholas trying to break into the garage of the home, but once Nicholas realized someone saw him, he took off. The brother swears it was definitely Nicholas. The police don't believe it was him. But no matter what, he still wasn't found. And then 3 years later, this story goes insane. There was a TV show called The Family several years ago, and its plot seemed very similar to this. So police receive a call from someone in Spain. They said that Nicholas Barclay was there, and he was in a youth center, a youth shelter. He claimed that Nicholas had been abducted and blindfolded and sent all the way to Spain, and that he was put into a child trafficking or sex trafficking ring. But Nicholas escaped, and he managed to get to authorities. This is apparently 16-year-old Nicholas Barclay. This is a 57-year-old man. How can anyone think that Anyway. This person right here claimed to be Nicholas Barclay. 3 years after his disappearance, again, he would be 16 years old. 1994, 1997. Right. At any rate, some of the family of Nicholas would fly to Spain to go pick up Nicholas. And the family member who went to pick him up said, oh, yeah, that is him. The interesting thing, though, is that he had brown eyes, and Nicholas had blue eyes. And the Nicholas in 1997 now has some sort of European accent. He said that was all because of his captivity. They experimented on him, which changed his eye color, and I guess somehow gave him an accent. He was trying to say that, I was being held captive for so long, I just sort of adapted the accent. At a certain point, a private investigator gets involved in this because this is obviously very strange and very suspicious. While some of the family identified this man as Nicholas, other people were like, there is no way that's him. And they were right. This man was a Frenchman named Frederic Bourdin. He was actually 23 years old. Still looks older than that, though. But this man is living now with the Barclay family, pretending to be Nicholas. This guy was a known impersonator, an imposter. Eventually, he would be nicknamed the man with 500 identities. And that's not even an exaggeration. He literally did this kind of thing like 500 times. Once he was caught for, lying, he was arrested and charged with various fraud charges and basically hindering the investigation into the missing child. He would end up being sentenced to 6 years in prison. This is a more recent photo of Frederick. I was watching an interview where he had talked about that, he had 500 identities and how he conned just so many people. It's like he enjoyed doing it, especially with Nicholas Barclay's family. This is a missing child. And he seemed kind of thrilled by it. It's just, ugh. And in the end, Nicholas Barclay is still missing. All that time between his discovery in Spain until the point where, Frederick was caught, they weren't really investigating anything. So that wasted a whole bunch of time. It sounds like at one point his mom was actually considered a suspect in his disappearance. She did take multiple polygraph tests. She passed 2 of them, but failed 1. But those are not a reliable thing. There was also speculation his brother was involved in whatever happened to him. His brother died in 1998 from an overdose. But there are people who believe the family was directly involved in this, hence why when Frederick came to them and when they identified him as Nicholas, that could be explained as, well, we know it's not him, but hey, this takes the heat off of us, so we're just going to say it's him, That's just a theory, a possibility. But here at the end, Nicholas is still a missing person. He's never been seen again. If alive today, he would be in his 40s. Somebody somewhere out there has got to know the truth, the actual truth, about what happened to Nicholas Barclay. You can always report your information anonymously. You do not have to say who you are, you just have to say what you know. At the time of his disappearance, he had short, light brown hair, blue eyes. He had a tattoo of a letter J on his left shoulder, a letter T tattooed on his left hand, and the letters L and N tattooed on his outer left ankle. He has a gap between his two front teeth, and he does go by the name Nicky. And again, he was 13 years old at the time. If you have any information on the case of Nicholas Barclay, please call 210-207-7484.